Locke's death, I actually want to take a step back for a moment. I want to tell you a little bit about his life, because once again, we have to learn about another black man in America, not because of how he lived or what he wanted to do or what he did with his life, but by how he was killed by the police. Amir was born in the suburbs of St. Paul, Minnesota. As a kid, he played basketball, even tried out for his high school football team. But his true passion in life, his true calling, he felt, was music. And before his death, Locke had filed paperwork, to start a music business, even designing a logo. This week, the 22-year-old had planned to move to Dallas, where he hoped to take the next step in his hip-hop career and be closer to his mom. His father described his son as a bright light, and his cousin remembered Locke as having a big heart. In Minneapolis, he worked as a food delivery driver, and according to his family, he had recently purchased a gun for protection due to a spike in carjackings. Now, that gun, which his family says was purchased legally, is now at the center of what took place Wednesday morning. When police entered the apartment, they found Locke sleeping on a couch under a blanket with his weapon nearby. Body camera footage, we can see the moments that led up to Locke's death. And we have to warn you at home, this may be hard to watch. Now, here's the thing. No-knock raids are supposed to be rarely used as a police tactic. They were designed to give law enforcement a tactical advantage because under a no-knock warrant, police can actually enter a private property without first alerting those inside, hence the name no-knock.
Another thing to look up about no-knock warrants. This is literally a procedure that the police do for war on drugs. So this all started in the 80s during the Reagan era. I believe it was Nancy Reagan herself that helped out with this idea for the cops to literally go into someone's home unannounced, bust open through this door. My door is right here, so I'm just pointing at it. Bust open through my door while I'm sitting right here doing a podcast, for example, and they just come on in. They can either choose to light my ass up or they can choose to just arrest me. A legally permanent weapon. He was murdered. And he was just sitting on the couch with a blanket over him. Just like how I sit on the couch behind me every single night when I come home from work with a blanket over me. Where's the NRA in this? Once again, the NRA, for example, is not present when a black man who has a permit to carry is slain by the police.
They're commonly used for drug busts so that suspects can potentially avoid hiding evidence. But the no-knock warrant police had that day was for a homicide investigation, not a drug bust. And Amir Locke's name was actually nowhere on that no-knock warrant. In fact, it wasn't even his apartment. Now, if this whole ordeal sounds familiar to you, that's because it is. No-knock warrants came under intense criticism in this country following the 2020 killing of Breonna Taylor during a no-knock raid in Louisville, Kentucky. After the release of that body camera footage, Nikema Levi Armstrong, a local civil rights attorney, who also serves as the co-chair of the city's new Commission on Community Safety, called out Mayor Fry and interim police chief Amelia Huffman. Armstrong demanded answers and accountability like we all do.
I don't know how you guys slept that night. I couldn't sleep at night. Tears from a mother's perspective, thinking about what happened. I saw the picture of Amir. He looks like a boy. My son is 17 years old. He has slept on his friends' couches for sleepovers. So we cannot sit here and whitewash this and pretend that it's okay. I signed up to help bring recommendations because we're tired of being killed. We're tired of the cover-ups. We're tired of the excuses.
I want everybody to know that my son is going to make sure that everybody across the United States is going to be able to sleep on the couch without having to be worried about being executed by the police.
Yes. So once again, you see that the Minneapolis police has not done anything yet to arrest, charge, fire the two officers that killed this young man. And let's get the officers' names, okay? So, Chief Amelia Hoffman and Officer Mark Hinman, who activists say shot and killed Locke. Why aren't they fired? Why aren't they charged? Why aren't they prosecuted? There's two aspects of this case that should already have these men in prison. The two aspects is one, his name wasn't even on the warrant. Two, he doesn't live there. So just like how I go and visit a friend, I'm sleeping on their couch. We're just going to bust in, no knock warrant for a murder case, not even a drug deal, and don't acknowledge who we are. 9 seconds in busting into this apartment, you shoot the first person you see on the couch. This is why people complain about the police in America. This is exactly why people complain about the police in America. If you are looking for any reason to defend cops at this point, I do not know what else more can I tell you, or what else more can someone else tell you how big of a deal this is. Police in America, look, I still support defund the police. And I'm at the point where we need to literally change that system, change the system of policing, and replace it with something better, something that actually comes in the service of liberating the people and understanding what is actual crimes and what is not crimes. Okay? And also providing services for mentally ill people, and providing services for homeless people, effective services. This is unexcusable. All of this should not be happening right now. And this is a culture of police brutality that did not just be ramped up from the war on drugs, but is also part of a culture of over 200 years that started with union busting and started with slavery, slave militias, slave catching militias. This is the same type of culture that has evolved into today. And this is why majority of prison's population is Native American and Black. And this is why you are always seeing stories of people being gunned down, either unarmed or with a permit to carry, and don't even shoot at the cops. You go into someone's, like what happened with Breonna Taylor's case. Her boyfriend had every right to shoot back at those police. Self-defense. If someone comes into my apartment and I don't know who it is and I'm strapped, best believe this is the most disgusting thing I have seen all this year. And it's only February.